Ring IQ TV, proudly joined by JayKae, one of the most talented rappers in the UK, now a boxing manager. JayKae, how you doing, my bro?
I'm all good, you know. All good.
So my first question to you is, why boxing? Why a boxing manager?
It wasn't planned early on the cards. It's just something that I just found myself in. I've always been a boxing fan. I've always watched boxing, always gone to boxing shows, trained a little bit, but initially Spider's the reason that I got into it. One of my boys, Ramsey, shouted me and he was like, yo, have a look at this kid. And I knew his brothers and that anyway, and his family, because they've got a few shops in Small Heath. And yeah, from there, like, I just knew I could help him initially, and then it grew from there. We've opened a gym now, and yeah, I've got another fighter, yeah.
Did you used to box yourself as well?
No, I used to fight though.
Just in a street thing, yeah?
I don't know enough about fighting, yeah.
So one of the lyrics in one of your songs is, I'm a boss with lyrics, I'm a boss with digits. Is it more of a business move more than a liking to the sport?
It's a business move, yeah, but my bread and butter's music. Boxing is not my bread and butter. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just more like, it's more a kick out of it, what we're doing at the minute, and seeing things build ground up, because we've just initially started as, like, what's the word for it, like novices. We've just come into the game and we've got to learn the game and we've got to learn the business as well. So I think eventually it will become a business for myself, but at the minute now, I wouldn't say it is right now.
And how difficult has it been, or easy, learning the job just as you go?
Been learning on the go, literally, but it's enjoyable, and I like getting things over the line for him, and I think we're having a good run at it right now. I think we're doing really well, and the past few years, like from him turning amateur and transitioning to professional, everything that I said that will happen for him has happened so far, and he's about to have his 6th professional fight in about 15 months, and they've all been on matchroom cards. They've all been in arenas, you know what I'm saying? So we can't complain, and now he's got his promotional deal and he's signed with them. We're going to be working with Matchroom for at least the next 2 years, so it's looking very promising.
Yeah, leading on to my next question, you've pretty much touched on it. Spider's an exceptional talent. How did you form a relationship, and how did the signing come about? Where did you first meet him?
First met him, used to see him as a kid, just by Jam Jar and Small Heath. If you're from Birmingham, you'll know where I'm on about. Seen him around then, and then had a meeting with his brothers and told him that I think I could do things for him. This is early on. This is before he won the seniors. And I was sponsored by Reebok at the time. I had like a year deal with Reebok, so I just thought I can get him some free kit and things like that. So that's how it first started, and then I wanted to find him a strength and conditioning coach, and then Chris Meyer come on board, who still works with us now. I think he's done great things with Spider. He's a great strength and conditioning coach. Got Chris on board, and then started seeing things progress, and then I started speaking to his amateur coaches, and I told them like my aspirations for him and where I wanted to take him and things like that, and I said we're going to go and win the seniors, and that was the first thing that we wanted to tick off the box. And the year that he entered it, then he went and won it. He cleaned up. So that was like that. We knew GB would come from then, and then we wanted Commonwealth Games because it was in Birmingham, and he never got that. Somebody else got picked over him, who was out in the first round, who he beat previously in the semi-final of the Nationals. So we all thought he should have went, and we thought it was a nice story. Birmingham Commonwealth amateur. I really think he would have won the gold, but they didn't give him the opportunity. Because of experience, they said. So we just thought, and they was trying to make him sign a 4-year deal as well, at GB. And we just thought, that's, nothing's promised, you know what I'm saying? If we're not going to get the Commonwealth, when by rights he's the best in the country, if he's number one in the country, not getting picked for the Commonwealth, why are we going to stick around for another 4 years? So we swerved the GB route and turned professional, and then messaged Eddie Hearn. I've took him to meet Eddie a couple of times while he was amateur. But told him that it's like, obviously it's time to go professional now, and I think this was the April that we applied. We got his license in the April or the May, I think, and then he fought in the August, yeah, and it was Galal Yafai versus Tommy Frank, and it was in Birmingham, and Matchroom hadn't done a show in Birmingham in 7-8 years probably, so I just thought it just makes sense. Like, we're gonna get him on, and we got him on, and the rest is history.
Of course, yeah. So you pretty much answered my next question. That was about Eddie Hearn as well. Was it Eddie you spoke to directly? And when you do bring a fighter to a promoter, did he try and par you off, or was he did he want to listen?
Man, to be fair, it started off with Eddie Hearn, because I used to just, obviously I'd get invited to, like, I've done a few podcasts for Matchroom and been to a few of their events and been to loads of like their invite only things as well, and networked with a few people. So initially it was Eddie Hearn, but Ross Garrity, he's like a big part of it. Tom Dallas is a big part of it. Speak to Frank Smith here and there, but yeah, initially it was Eddie Hearn. And what was the part of your question again?
It was basically if Eddie Hearn basically parred you off when you...
Obviously, imagine, he must have everyone who meets Eddie Hearn, who likes a kid, who knows a kid who's a boxer.
Yeah.
He's going to try and plug him. So he's one of probably thousands of people that have been plugged to Eddie Hearn. But the thing was, what they liked was, and what got interest from them is that he beat Campbell Hatton, and they just signed Campbell Hatton.
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, I've got the kid that just made him look like a fool. Like, what do you want to... Like, we can make this fight on his debut. I was just socking it to him, basically. And then, yeah, it was Corona time, so Eddie knew of him when he was an amateur, and he said it's best to stay amateur for a bit. And when it's time to turn professional, let me know. And when we did, we got given the opportunity.
I do remember, I think it was a post-fight interview where you had the mic, and you basically said... kind of thanked Eddie Hearn for the chance. You basically said, I told you he was going to be special. 3 knockouts in 5 fights. Spider's got a lot of power. What's the plans going forward? He's obviously got a fight this year, last one of the year, and then what's the plans for next year?
Well, he's got, like you said, he's got November 30th. We could not be on that show. I think it's the biggest, probably my favourite looking UK card in a minute. Huge for a Birmingham show as well. Get him out on that. And then I think we're done with the 6-rounders. And then we're going to start looking into 8s and 10s next year, and then hopefully get him some silverware and get him a belt around his waist.
Definitely. Boxing can be a cruel sport in and outside of the ring. How's your relationship with other managers, promoters and fighters? Has it all been plain sailing at the moment?
Mostly, yeah. Yeah. Most the other managers in the game, like 2 that stick out in my head is Sam Jones and Lee Eaton. Like I get on with them very well, and if I need any advice on that, I've gone to them before and asked them for advice and things like that, and I can see that they've got my well, I'd like to think my best intentions in this thing, and they're good people, but there's been a couple hiccups here and there with people, but nothing personal now.
When it comes to boxing, and obviously being a music artist as well, are there any similarities between the two? Can you find any?
It is a shady game. Both of them are very shady games, and there's only so many people you can trust, and you should have a tight circle in both of them, and you need a good manager in both of them. You need solid people around you that are looking after your best interest, to give you the freedom to just express your art. So we just want him to worry about boxing and nothing else. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas an artist should just have their music and have studio time. That's their gym initially. Do you know what I'm saying? That's all they should worry about. So I think there is similarities. It's both cruel games, like you said. Yeah.
As a boxing manager, do you think it's as important as having a good promoter and a good coach? How good has a manager got to be as well for a fighter?
I just think he's got to have your best interests, and you've got to have someone there that you know that will never pull a funny one on you. Even financially, you've got to trust people with money. You've got to trust people with your health, with your life, with your best interests. That we're not gonna, as much as Matchroom have tried to be like, Matchroom are a promotional company that like to fast track their fighters and that. I think we've done a good job slowing it down a bit with him. We've had 3 4-rounders, 3 6-rounders. That's a good pace where I'd like him to be at. Where you see other Matchroom fighters, their 3rd, 4th professional fight, they're thrown in 10-rounders and shit. I don't like that. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's all about him, innit? It's his best interest, like where we want to take him, and we don't need to rush this for anybody. Like, not just because you said and what you think. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's my job to do so. And you've got to be firm with these people, because it's easy to get pushed over and like, you have to jump at some certain opportunities. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they could say, oh yeah, we can give you this fight date, but you've got to fight this monster. Like, it's just, if it doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense.
Has there been any disagreements with Eddie Hearn so far, or not really?
Every single first opponent they've ever sent is who he fought. We ain't ever said nah. I ain't ever looked at it and said his debut was the guy that Campbell Hatton fought on his 10th fight, we said yeah straight away. Like the first opponent that's come over from their matchmaker, Tom, we've just green lighted straight away. Yeah, because he's like Tom Dallas, like I'm saying, being a part of it. Like he's interested in growing him. Like he's took a gamble with Spider. Like he's pushed it and plugged it a lot as well, and he wants to build him up. So I think we're lucky in that sense.
And as a boxing manager, what do you look for in a fighter before you take them under your wing? Is it the way you can market them, or isn't that got anything to do with you really?
Nah, not initially the way I can market. It's more talent than anything. Like I've got Trey Dubry now. I've just signed Trey as a cruiserweight, and he's I think he'll smash up all these domestic cruiserweights now. Like that's why I'm interested in training. He's from Birmingham, and that's what I'm about pushing. Like people have tried to give me other fighters. Like other managers have asked me if I wanted to start companies with them and build things with them, and it's not my interest. Like I don't want to take on more than I can. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. Basically, like I know I can look after him, and I know I can look after another fighter. But once you start piling on and there's too many people, for me personally, that's not what I'm looking for. Like boxing isn't my whole life. Do you know what I'm saying? I've got enough time to devote to Ibrahim and Trey, and right now that's about it. And I've got to be wise about that. I don't want to take on too much that I can't handle.
Absolutely. So what is it? Two fighters you got under your belt?
Yeah, two. Yeah.
Two. So obviously you want to give them your time, obviously.
And I can two people you can give their time to. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, when it starts 5, 6, 7, 10 plus, nah, I personally can't. Other people might be able to. Other managers might be able to. But me personally, no, I can't. I've got kids. I've got a career aside from this. Do you know what I'm saying? So, but I know I can look after these two. Is
it solely your decision to pick a fighter that you want to manage, or do you get advised from someone else or someone who has experience in the boxing industry? have they ever helped you and said?
It was my friend from Small Leaf that told me about Spider. Someone that just watches boxing. Like he's not into boxing like in the deeper level. He just watches the pay-per-views like most casual boxing fans do, and he put me onto Spider. And Trey, I've always heard about him and known about him, but I first seen him on a GBM show. And I looked at him and I thought, yeah, I could work like magic with this kid. If I had him, I could do some serious things with him. Just more preference, like what you like and what you think you can bring to that person's table and what you think they can finally achieve from the end of it. And I think he can be a world champion, and I think Trey can be a world champion if they're both looked after well. That's what I think.
Absolutely. JayKae, thank you for your time, man. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Yo, November 30th, we're coming to steal the show again. Birmingham, Edward Jaffoy. Make sure you're locked in for Ibrahim Spider Suleiman. It's going off.
Respect, my brother. Take care.